Hey guys, and welcome to the first edition of Artificial Life. I am your host Rose, and today we'll ask fellow gamers whether all players who play violent video games become themselves violent. We will be chatting to our select group of gamers, and they'll give us a guided tour of their prized possessions, their console and favourite game. We'll also find out about some of the latest research into something called the psychological of digital interaction. We all know a violent video game, and if you are an avid gamer, then I am sure you have a first-person shooter or a beat-em-up on the shelf in the bedroom. And we all have that favourite game, right? Tekken, Call of Duty, Street Fighter, to name just but a few. Our first visit is to meet Alexander Maguire and his mother Emma Atwood. Both Alex and his mother agree that he does have mild aggression while he plays video games, but don't we all get slightly angry when we are stuck on that annoying level?
Well, I have Call of Duty Modern Warfare, NASCAR 2009, Formula 1 2013, Tour de France 2013, FIFA 13, NHL 14, Tiger Woods 2014, the Masters Edition, Grand Slam Tennis, Angry Birds and Gran Turismo 5. Well, it's my Super Nintendo, which I've yet to hook up, my PlayStation 3, my Wii, Nintendo Wii, and my, Nintendo 64 and my PlayStation 1. When I get the old retro console, so to speak, I'll hook them up and yes. Not really that often. Depends what I feel like, really. If I stick a video game on, I'll play it, but not really an avid video gamer, as they say. So it just depends what I feel like. So, yeah, not often.
Just to me, just people who play video games, they're into video games. They connect through the internet, through sort of cameras, videos, and just play. It could be all over the world, it could be, anywhere. But they just are connected through the video games and through technology.
I don't get really frustrated. I get annoyed at them when things aren't going right. I think the only thing that I can explain is that because you get so into it, you're focused on what you're doing, and it's the concentration, and you not really lose all sense of control, or you lose the sense of what goes on around you because you're stuck in the game itself. It's the concentration, and you want to do well at it. So, yeah.
Oh yes, quite a bit, especially the hockey games. If there is any fighting that breaks out, he gets quite into it, if you like. He wants to try and beat the other person up or whatever they do. So yeah, I think he can get quite frustrated at them if they're not going his way or he's losing. But yeah, a little bit.
I think it's a wrong judgment on people who aren't violent, who play violent video games. My opinion is, depends how you are as a person. I think, I don't know, people, you hear people of, playing violent video games and reading violent things, getting disturbed, violent thoughts, particularly, to use an example, the shootings in America, and that's the sort of things that they play, and it's hard to, it's tarring people with the same brush as those of that sort of nature, and it's not fair. So yes, I think it's wrong to say that all people who play violent video games are violent, because they're not. As I say, it depends how you are as a person.
I don't think they're all the same. I don't think it's fair to tar them with the same brush. I think it kind of depends on that person, whether there's underlying issues or well, I don't know. I think it does depend on that person. If you're a sort of person that is quite an aggressive natured person, then it could exaggerate that. If you're a little bit obsessive and if you're too competitive, it probably could lead to something more sinister, if you like. But I think it rather does depend on the type of person. So it's not quite probably fair. I think it could sort of what's the word? Exaggerate, if you like, or probably lead to something if you can become addicted to it. It possibly, but then I couldn't comment on that because I wouldn't know. But I really do think it does depend on the person.
Two other gamers are brothers Danny and Adam Stewart, as well as Danny's love interest, Blake. These guys have a totally different gaming, but still have a shrine of merchandise that is hidden within their bedroom.
Well, I have my Xbox set up, which is just basically my bigger TV. I've got my charger, my controllers, headsets, random games I'll be playing just set out. Then I've got my Xbox. I've got it surrounded by quite a lot of figurines, from different games I enjoy. I've got other memorabilia, things like stuff from when I Call of Duty. I spent on the release date, I stayed out at the store at night time to wait until it was finally on sale, and we all got a load of free stuff. I've got different books, Halo books. I've got a Sackboy teddy, Minecraft pickaxe. So it's quite fun to go running around town. Oh, my collection of foxes. Anyone from Sonic. I've got. I've grown over the years. I've grown older. I've started getting into PC gaming now, which is some people would say the more master race of gaming. Wouldn't agree to it though. It's a bit stuck up. But yeah, it's basically just my monitor, hard drive, and my surround sound. It's good for annoying the neighbours who make a lot of noise. So it's good to get some own back on them. Then I've just got more memorabilia really. The posters, there's only a few really that I've got from things like gaming magazines. I quite collect a few of those. So a few of them for like different gaming magazines. Some of them are even from little maps you get with the game cases, just as like little souvenir type things. I've got like a Halo door hanger, and it's basically just showing, most of them showing my favourite games, which are Call of Duty, Battlefield, and Halo.
I don't really have many gaming items. Like I say, it's just a TV and the Xbox. But I mean, I have quite a few of my games. Obviously, you can see. I mean, I've got quite a few of the Call of Duties back to Modern Warfare 2. I have got 4 and 5 somewhere. I've got a couple of GTAs, and then I've got FIFAs all the way back to FIFA 09. So I mean, I've got a couple of copies, which links back to getting stressed. That is the wall that has taken a couple of hits from controllers from quite a few Rage quiz. But no, not a lot of gaming stuff, to be honest. I'm not a fan of actually getting merchandise. I just like buying the games and playing them instead. I would eventually like to get a setup like a YouTuber, get a couple of monitors, start streaming stuff. Yeah, that's a future plan.
Every day. No. Yeah. Probably every day. Do I think that's bad?
I don't know.
Yeah. But I don't play them for hours and hours. I do other things. I don't prioritise games over doing something that's more important than playing games. So I just use it in my downtime to relax if I've got nothing else to do.
Well, I work quite a bit, so sometimes every day, but if I'm not playing a game, I will be watching others play the game on YouTube. So I guess you could say quite a lot.
I'd say the first things that spring to mind would be things like gaming forums or just groups of large groups of people going to events just based around gaming and the community around it, just getting together and having fun with other people who enjoy the same things you do.
I like first-person shooters and strategy games. I play this World War II game where basically me and a load of other people play together and play the game as it is supposed to be played, but we all know each other, so it's all structured. So it's, you got set people on different teams. That would probably be my favourite game, and I've probably played that for a total of 700 hours. And what I like about it is the period, so World War II. Almost like you can go back and live it through the game, if that makes sense.
FIFA and GTA all day long. GTA is a bit of a pastime, but I mean, for FIFA I will stop what I'm doing that day just to play it, especially Ultimate Team. If a new pack's out or a new player, if it's happy hour, I will stop what I'm doing and I will play the game. That's pretty sad, but I don't know, I'd rather play that than go out sometimes.
I think people play video games. It's a good way to relax, and it's a good way to escape from really the world's troubles, because you can do what you want when you want, and you don't really have to listen to any rules or what anybody tells you to do. It's basically just a free world where you can do what you like.
Yes. When I play games such as Counter-Strike, or other games such as strategy games like Men of War, a lot of luck, it feels, can come into it, and the other team just gets really lucky and gets a stupid headshot, or I feel like I'm good enough, I'm good, and then something unpredictable happens, or you get matched with teammates who are complete idiots. So you just feel annoyed that your team isn't as good as you, or they've got luck on their side. And you can also feel like, why am I even playing this? This is a massive waste of time because I'm not winning. So it's all about winning. It's competitive.
Yes. I get quite frustrated, but I think it's because sometimes the game is a joke. Sometimes I feel everything's against me, especially on FIFA, because you get some people who don't deserve to have the game. GTA is a bit different. I don't get as angry because I'm quite bad at that. But no, I get angry at most games. I mean, Minecraft, I'd get angry at. But I think it's just because I just think the world's against me and I think I could do better.
I wouldn't say Blake. He can play a bit of Counter-Strike or his game where he has a clan. He can play that a bit much. So the point where it does start to get ridiculous. But no, with Blake he doesn't play it too much. With Adam though, I would say he does play FIFA quite a bit. He does have a bit of addiction with the game. I wouldn't say any of them play it overly too much like I would.
No, I don't believe that to be true. Children can be very impressionable, so when they see something on the TV or on a video game, they could get the idea that it's acceptable. But I think it's mainly down to the parents of a child or a person who's playing video games to let them know what's right and wrong.
I slightly agree, because when I play GTA or COD and something goes wrong, I do tend to act out and throw a couple of controllers. So I think, I think some could lead to violence. Not everyone, but I mean, if you're that impressionable, you can maybe take something from the game.
I think that's rather absurd, really. It's just like the thing with any kid that wears a hoodie is automatically a hooligan. It's all just nonsense. A small group of people ruin it for others. It's just people who are more... who shouldn't really be playing video games because they take things in too easily. Like small children, they shouldn't be allowed to play a violent video game because it can have lasting effects on them. But really, with everybody, even if they do have small anger problems or rather large anger problems, it shouldn't cause any problems with them if they're a normal person.
So, what light can Dr. Conor Linehan shed here? He's a lecturer in computer science at the University of Lincoln and a member of the Lincoln Social Computing Research. Most of the answers we've got so far are against the labelling of gamers. Oh, Doctor, help us please diagnose our problem.
There's lots of different ways I can answer this question. Right, one way would be to say, is that really a problem? Okay, because, for example, well, I suppose it's the way the media talk about violence in games as being this like terrible thing. I mean, I play violent sports. I play rugby, and the thing about playing rugby is that everyone who plays rugby absolutely 100% is a terribly violent person, because that's how you play the game. Okay, so because you actually engage in really violent acts as you're playing, but society doesn't label rugby players as violent people. Generally, you're seen as like, you know, oh yeah, you go out and get your frustration out on the field, and then it's very like, you know, gentlemanly kind of sport, if you know what I mean. So that game, that's I think like stuff like rugby, American football, Australian rules football, Gaelic football, ice hockey, any sports that have full contact, like it's in the rules. You have to be violent.
Yeah.
So why do we not criticise those in the same way? For some reason, those are seen as acceptable. So I'm kind of, I find it curious that people do have this reaction to, you know, labelling people who play violent games as violent people when we don't do that with games that are definitely violent. You know, that actually involve physical violence rather than you know, just digital representations of, you know, imaginary violence, really. Because you know, if you play a violent computer game, all you're doing is moving your fingers, really, and like watching stuff on the screen. That's not an inherently violent. You're not actually being violent. So maybe you're watching some violent content. So then there's a question of, are we labelling all people who watch violent content as violent people? I think that's a silly question. A game designer, right? Think about it this way. If I can make a game that significantly changes your behaviour, so just by you playing the game, I can make your behaviour change, right? Imagine that was real, because it's not, like, because if it was real, we could use games to do all sorts of things. You know, we could, if we could, like that would, if playing a game genuinely could have like an impact on your behaviour and make you like violent. Playing a violent game makes you violent. Then playing, you know, a game that involves being healthy make you really healthy, or playing a game that involves learning loads of stuff make you well educated. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We would love to do those things, but it's, we can't. We don't have the technology to do that. We don't know how to do it. So like from a design perspective, that would be amazing if we could kind of go, right, I'm going to design this game, I'm going to design it in this way because I know it's going to have this effect on people's behaviour, and they will change their behaviour significantly. And let's face it, change their personality is what you're talking about. Someone, going from being non-violent to violent, or or at least lowering their threshold for being violent. So because if we could do that, then we could probably get people to eat healthier. We could get people to exercise more. We could get people to learn better. But we just don't know how to do that. Like, genuine science isn't there.
So, it may be an unfortunate misconception. If video games cause violence, then why doesn't contact sport cause violence also? Games may make us angry when they don't go our way, but is this really a threat to society?